Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Ben Bartel here from Splash in Mequon, Wisconsin. Ben, thanks for jumping on.
Problem. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Looking forward to sharing Splash with our clients, community, and followers. I know the work that you do is really, really important for everyone in the community. So if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about Splash today?
Absolutely.
All right, Ben, when people ask you what Splash does, how do you describe your business?
So we're in the business of swim lessons, but really what we're doing here is that we're trying to, I'd say we're trying to build swimming skills for a lifetime in the water.
Mhm.
The idea is here that, especially in a place like Wisconsin, you've got the lake and you've got the pools and you've got Noah's Ark and you've got all these different things. You've got fishing, you've got all kinds of different water activities everywhere in the state, and in order to be able to participate in most of those things you have to be able to swim. So our goal or our idea here is to teach and build these skills so that throughout the course of your life you can have access to these different kinds of water activities. So we've got students who come here and they'll learn and then to go out to the lake, or they've got the pool in the backyard. They get a little bit older, they might join competitive swim. They get a little older, they might go out and get a job as a lifeguard. All the way through, we run some water fitness in the morning. And we've got folks as old as people in their 90s that are going to come in and use the pool. They'll water walk, they'll do the exercises, exercise classes. And again, all that enjoyment and all those different activities all kind of starts with the core fundamentals of learning how to swim.
Yeah.
Of course, the other piece of that is everybody wants their kid to be more confident in the water. And ultimately, I think helping someone build confidence comes from helping them build competence. So when a kid knows that I can do this thing, I worked at it, I learned it, and I can do it, that's where that kind of true confidence comes in, that they're going to be able to go out and enjoy themselves and play with their friends, the pool, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think about there's two things I want to touch on quickly. So many people enjoy water, but they don't necessarily respect it. And water is so powerful. I mean, I think about even when we're whitewater rafting or swimming or in lakes, like you said, it just people don't realize how dangerous water can be. And yet I don't know if you know this, but SPA is an acronym. Salud por agua, health by water. And water can provide so many therapeutic, options. Even you talk about a 90-year-old person water walking. I mean, after somebody goes through hip surgery or knee surgery, isn't it best for them to be in water before they're exercising on land, right? So do you offer that opportunity for anybody? What about adult swim lessons, or an adult that doesn't know how to swim and wants to get comfortable? Is that something that they can go to you as well?
We have offered that historically. The
Mhm.
challenge that we come across is finding time to carve that out. But more than
Mhm.
that is having an instructor with the skill set to approach and work with an adult, which is a little bit different than working with a kid.
Sure.
Um, and so we have done them.
Mhm.
We haven't done them as recently as the last like year or so.
Okay.
Still kind of on the lookout for somebody that can teach that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we'll get with our littlest kids, we'll start them as young as 6 months to 12 months with their parents, and then they're kind of on their own and in the water with our instructors by like 18 months. But like if you think about what we're doing, it's like we break it into three pieces: get comfortable in the water, get floating, and then get moving, right? Um, so when we work with the little kids, there's all kinds of little toys and cups and things. We're trying to get them to relax, because if they're all tense, they're going to sink.
Yeah.
Interestingly, with the adults that have never learned to swim, that's usually the same barrier. We don't use
Really?
cups, but yeah, if they're tense around the water, they have a hard time floating. They're gonna sink like a stone, and most of them will say, "Oh, I sink like a stone. I need help." Um,
So tell me just a little bit more about your pool and we'll go on to the next question. I really want people to be, educated on all the things that you offer. So is part of the pool shallow? Tell me the how deep the pool gets.
So we have two tanks, like two
Okay.
bodies of water. They're separated actually by a wall. So they're on two different like chlorine systems. They're on two different HVAC systems.
Oh,
20 feet by 50 feet. And that's like maybe 4 feet or 4.5 feet and goes down to, or goes up to like 3.5 feet, maybe.
okay.
The other one is like 4 feet to 3.5 feet, and it's 30 by 30, and it has like a, a handicap accessible ramp. You can kind of walk in. And what we'll do is if for swim lessons, you get a membership and we offer like a weekly lesson. And then we carve out times during the week where we have a family swim. So you can come in kind of once per week and come in with your kids and swim around. And ideally, they practice some of the stuff that we're working on in class. I said this when I used to be a swim coach. And one of the things I had said, if you wanted the best swim team of all time, you should build a school that's about 3 feet deep of water. You have to swim between every class. Like it's just repetition, repetition, repetition. Once you kind of get the idea of what you're doing, and the more time you spend in there, the easier I mean, that's really any skill, right? Any skill is just going to end up being fairly repetition based. So the more we can kind of offer, the more they can get in there, the more progress they're going to see, and the happier we are then.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, I suppose it only really needs to be about 3 feet deep, even if it were at school, for you to get those strokes in and just learn how to move in it. I love it. So you have a really neat background with swimming. You were an athlete. So my next question for you is, what were your plans when you started your business and how have they changed? But I'd love for you to tell me a little bit more about your history as a swimmer as well and move in through the business. Would you share that with us?
Sure. So if we rewind way, way back, okay, I was one of those kids where, mom and dad worked, and in the summer, this was an era of here's your pool pass and your towel, door's locked. I'll see you at 1:30.
Bye.
Goodbye. So we did swim lessons every summer, and I was also one of those kids who um I failed like level 3 or whatever it was, like 10 times. Because I could do all the skills except one, get that one, and so it wouldn't advance me. Um,
Okay.
Part of what my challenge was I would ride my bike to the outdoor pool,
Uh-huh.
and I would just freeze. It was so cold. It was 79, 80 degrees, but outside in the morning in the summer, I just get so cold, I was shivering, and I'm just a little, my body was this big. Our pool is 90 degrees, which is
Whoa.
very good for kids. So I grew up around the pool and just going to the outdoor pool. I'm playing with my friends and loving it. In high school, I got into competitive swim. I was terrible at first and got really good at it. Got into competitive swim in college and then ended up coaching. And then in coaching, I had the opportunity to work with a guy who was really super high level. And he had been on the national team before, and he ended up winning nationals our first year working together and being
Wow.
top 3 in the world. And so when this happens, I'm like, okay, this guy can make the Olympic team. And I start thinking, I go, I am not experienced enough or good enough as a coach to get this guy in the Olympic team. I have to massively improve myself right now, yesterday. So through this process, I'm talking to all these high level coaches, and I'm learning all about really what it's about is developing character skills. It's about leadership. It's about building a culture. These are the things that are a platform that you can take an athlete of that like level and kind of help propel them to the next area. So I got way less into like what the flip turns and got way more into thinking about those types of things.
Wow.
And so from there, I started doing some consulting with different businesses around leadership development, culture, that kind of thing. And actually, I started working with the previous owner of Splash, helped them with that very thing. And then she wanted to sell and said, I know that this guy is somebody that gets what we're trying to do here.
Mhm.
Take this legacy and take it to the next level. And I
Mhm.
felt like that was an opportunity too good to pass up. And I was in love with the business. I thought it was a phenomenal place. And, it was a place like, I want to take my kids here, you
Yeah.
know. And so it just kind of worked itself out like that. And then where do I want to take this? That was the other part of the question, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to do initially was like right from the get-go, we're going to do a strategic planning session. We're going to do this. We're going to lay this all down. And then I kind of paused and I was like, wait a second. I want to do nothing about that for a year. In a year from now, I'm going to know so much more about how this place operates. What are the challenges? What are the pain points? What's working? What's not? We're going to be able to get way more out of that. So we kind of paused that. We actually just got finished with our first round of strategic planning last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But what we're trying to do, what I'd like to do is I want to help grow the business, keep improving with tiny, daily, consistent improvements, and help develop more systems. Because we've had some extremely talented people here. We have some amazing people on our leadership staff. The challenge is we've got so much of that accumulated knowledge is here,
Yes.
which is difficult. It's something happens, somebody gets sick, somebody's gone, somebody leaves. So we're trying to build systems. We're trying to kind of build our formulas. And eventually what I'd like to do is find an opportunity for another location.
So cool.
And then go from there and we'll see. But in order to get there for a second location, we've really got to have our
Yep.
eyes crossed on that first location. So that's where we are right now.
So you said a couple of things there. That was quite a few golden nuggets there. I'll touch right away on systems. That's something that our coaches talk about all the time. If it's up here and not on paper, it's not going to go anywhere. Same thing with like our life goals, whatever it is, like get them down, get them in your RAS, get them where you can see them every day. The other thing though, that you said that when you were thinking about, when you were a kid going to the pool, failing, level 3 multiple times, but we learn through those failures. And then you talked about it again, like staying ahead of, if you're coaching somebody, you want to be ahead of them in a lot of ways right here. And so when you recognize, okay, maybe I'm not good enough yet, but then all of a sudden you propel yourself and you're doing that exact same thing with these students. I think that the opportunity and the learning growth through failure, which you brought out, is just so incredible. And then applying that, thinking about, okay, as a child, I hated being cold. I want to make these kids comfortable, like you said, and then competent, right? Like that's absolutely incredible that you recognize that and are implementing it. So thank you for sharing all of that, Ben. So my next question for you is kind of obvious, but what is the biggest way you impact the community?
Well, I will bring instructors in, train them up, and sometimes they can get so wound up in the detail of like, what is the progression that I'm teaching? What am I trying to accomplish today? That we try to really do a good job of reminding them to like pan it back and go, okay, you might save a kid's life by building that relationship, having them push out and try things they're not used to build that skill up. That kid might fall in the pool one day and be able to get himself out.
Yes.
And that's obviously like the most obvious way that we impact the community. The other thing I think that's really important that I think our students take from this, maybe not knowingly, swimming is not exactly easy. They come in week to week to week to week to week, and it's this long process of building this scaffold of skills to where eventually here I am and I'm swimming, I'm comfortable in the water, I don't even think about it. But that the purposeful dedication, commitment, and discipline to keep coming, keep trying, keep pushing, and always trying to push outside that comfort zone. That, I mean, that's the formula right there, right? Because if they're applying that same thing to school, trying to learn or to study for a test, you know, and I'm going to chip away at this week by week, little by little, push outside my comfort zone, keep challenging myself. And then eventually I'm going to get there.
Incredible. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, so many great ways you're impacting the community. And I think, everybody says it's not going to happen to me. Like, I'm a responsible parent. I'm watching, my kids, but it takes 1 second, right? And you look the other way or something goes on. For a year, you'd hear about kids, getting into the gate of the pool. So truly from the heart, thank you for not only making the swim instructors and the children like understand that they could be saving lives, but also building that confidence and that structure in other areas that they can apply to other areas of their life. It's so, so important. Thank you for that. My next question for you is, what is one challenge you have faced that other business owners could learn from?
So the low hanging fruits probably staffing challenges, right? Which seems like most people that I've talked to at least are having a lot of the same challenges and issues. And I wish I could tell everybody that I've solved it. I've cracked the equation, and that don't worry, everybody. We've got staffing figured out. It's a constant battle. But the thing I would say that we have been doing over the last 9 months to a year that has really helped us a lot is we really, really, really try to hire for character. We try to hire for character instead of, what's your experience or how much, what can we pay this person? Like, this is our least important thing. I mean, especially we're going to take these instructors, we're going to teach them how to teach swimming. That's almost an important part of it, really. If they don't like kids, or if they can't connect with another person, if we can't count on them to be there week to week, they're never going to be able to establish the trust that's necessary with the little kid to be able for that kid to go, okay, I trust this person, and so I'm going to try this thing that I'm scared of. And so we don't always get it right, but we really try to think about, like, is this the kind of character person that we want to bring in? That I think about it like, do I want my kid getting a lesson from this person?
Totally. Absolutely.
I think you can improve character skills, and I have seen that within our own staff. We really try to make sure that we are trying to check those boxes and really screen for character more than anything else.
Yeah, thank you so much for doing that, especially as you're dealing with children in vulnerable situations. You just want to make sure they're around people that are kind and empathetic and competent. So that's very important. So we talked about this a little bit, what the future looks like for you. You want to get your systems down and potentially expand into other areas. That is absolutely incredible. So my final question for you today is, all subjects open, what inspires you most?
I think the thing that I'm inspired by, I guess, is I get to view and engage with almost all phases of the cycle of life. We've got our babies, we've got moms come in with their 2 kids doing their lesson, and then they're holding the newborn. And I'm like, oh, how old? They're like 2 weeks.
Right.
It's like, I'm seeing super mom come in with the 2 kids here and the bag and the thing, and then she's just, crushing it. You see the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, they're trying to figure these things out. We've got our older kids who are trying to learn flip turns and things like that. Fast forward a little bit later, and we're hiring instructors who are 15, 16, 17. We have instructors all the way through, we have a retired school principal who comes and teaches for us as well. But so we've got these 15, 16-year-olds, and a bunch of our instructors, they actually learned how to swim here at this business.
Yeah. So cool.
We got kids in college that are instructors. We've got the old, parents with young kids, parents with old kids, grandparents coming in, people coming in. And so every facet of this, and as a fairly new dad, right? It helps, I'm in this part of the phase in the cycle, which is all just part of life. And every part of it is great. I don't really feel regret of not being younger or fear of being older or anything like that. It's just a beautiful process, and I get to see almost every day like almost every part of that process, or someone in every phase of that process, we'll say.
Absolutely. That is such a positive way of looking at it, because you're perfect right where you're at. And whether you're, yeah, the 90-year-old water walker or the infant that is sitting there just getting comfortable listening to noise while their brother and sister are learning. It's absolutely incredible, so inspiring. So Ben, you've got a great business. You're doing great things for the community. If somebody wants to connect with you or get lessons or get that family membership kind of thing that you talked about, so they could come in and swim and learn, what's the best way for them to connect? Is it website, social media? You tell us.
If you're just looking for some basic information, our website's probably your best bet. You can look us up on Google pretty easily. The website's splashmequon.com. You can also give us a call. The number's 262-512-7946. You can also email us at swim@splashmequon.com. In the summer, we have a lot of people are shifting schedules a lot. So we have openings for our week to week, like our weekly membership options where you have a class once a week. We also do summer camps where, you might come in at 10 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for just 1 week. There's a lot of people, oh, we're traveling for the whole summer. We're going to this other country, whatever it is. We do some private lessons as well for people that really have tough times with their schedules. But yeah, so check us out on our website, and we're always trying to find new clients and serve our community and help kids build those skills. So we would love to hear from anyone.
Thank you. And right now we are getting close to summer. Are there still opportunities to sign up for summer lessons?
There are, and our busiest time is probably February through May.
Okay.
People are like, in anticipation of the summer, I really want to get in here. And we've got people that we'll start to get really busy midway through June, because people will start to know their schedules, and then they'll try to like fit and find something that's going to work. But I think that, again, especially if you're going to be out, you're going to be around, or you're going to be in the pool, there's no way around building the skills other than repetition and guided repetition in most cases.
That
so
consistency, right?
Yeah, that kind of consistency. You can get a lot done in a weekly class where you come in for 5 days in a row. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you just have to keep at it. But yeah, there's still plenty of opportunities, and I hope people come and take advantage of them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Ben, for the history of the business, everything you're doing in the community, and splash on.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me today. It was a pleasure.